Cybersleuth has an interesting story behind it. It initially had no plans for a Western release until a petition formed that caught the attention of the creators and gave it that chance in the West it otherwise would have never gotten. I remember a while back browsing Silicon Era and seeing screenshots of an old franchise I had long put aside and forgotten from my childhood. It seemed like a very updated take on an old formula. Character designs were modern and stylized, the color palette was very much like the Digimon first movie and Summer Wars, which has a unique style that looks great. It seemed to look overall pretty good, but sadly I soon realized it was a Japanese only release. Until 2016. A friend let me borrow this game. I had heard it was finally coming out, but had no real urge to really play it because it was just a Digimon game. An old series that never really had many great games that I let die after the end of Season 3. Digimon Story Cybersleuth is the greatest Digimon game ever made, and one of the best JRPGs I've had the great pleasure of playing since Persona 4. The game is by no means perfect, if anything it's just a solid JRPG, but wrapped in the Digimon coat, it makes it great. If I wasn't summoning and using these iconic monsters from my childhood, I would be writing this review, but how well this game brings to life my nostalgia for Digimon and its animation and art style should be rewarded. Cybersleuth evolves the Digimon formula, takes cues from some of my personal favorite franchises like the Shin Megami Tensei and the Persona series, and puts their own Digimon spin on it. It was a great experience. As I said earlier, this game is by no means perfect. As an American fan, parts felt missing, like the classic Digimon music and the iconic voices of the Digimon I grew up with. Having Vmon, Guilmon, and Agumon do their iconic moves and not hear them in the original English voice acting had a huge effect on me. It actually has me longing to hear them again. It's a nitpick, but it would sell the overall package better to their Western audience if they truly wanted to recapture them. I'm sure it was planned or thought of, but due to the nature of this game barely coming out, we have to be happy about it for now. I just hope in the future that we get a true localization. That's mostly how I feel about the whole game. It straddles the line. It's so close to being overall amazing, it just never crosses it due to things like this. You can tell this game was originally a portable game in spots, but the overall texture quality and animations of the Digimon are rock solid. Them are some really good looking Digimans. Cybersleuth's story is a mature take on the franchise, dealing with a mature subject matter not really seen in the forefront of the original series. It starts off pretty generically. Humans have a cyber world like the Matrix that they enter by transferring their mental data. Main characters meet hackers, and then hackers introduce Digiman. Then you get recruited by a cyber detective on cyber crimes. Then hijinks ensue, of course. For the first half of the game, you are Tokyo's handyman, fixing Digimon problems that occur everywhere. AC units, Wikipedia pages, televisions, and so on. Sprinkled with trying to figure out the conspiracy of the Kuroshime company, who obviously must be doing some gnarly shit, which is the most interesting part of the first half of the game, but is poorly paced throughout the 10 chapters. In those chapters there are some pretty great moments, and everything is carried by the great character animations, the music, the serviceable translation, and even the Japanese voice acting. But all of the first 10 chapters are trampled by the amazing final half of the game. Downright mind-blowing, and the tonal shift of the game was completely surprising. Cybersleuth's final half might be better than anything Digimon has done previously before, and is better than most modern JRPG stories. To have a Digimon story resonate with me, someone in their mid-20s, was one of the most satisfying moments I've had in video games in quite a while, and I was an ex-Digimon fan of sorts. I hated Seasons Past 3, and I never really looked back. There's not much else I want to say about the story. It's good, and spoiling any of it would be a disservice on what they did to give fans what they wanted with this franchise. Just know it takes a bit to pick up, about 10 to 15 hours or so. Combat is your standard JRPG fare, using Pokemon-like properties like weaknesses to elements and types. Fire does more damage to grass, and Virus Digimon do double damage to Data Digimon. Combat gets its depth by stat management and what Digimon you have with you. Each Digimon has special passives. For example, Metal Garurumon improves turn speed by 15% to your whole team. You can carry as many Digimon as your memory stat allows you to, which increases throughout the game by item pickups that are pretty common. Each Digimon has 1 to 2 signature moves that have unique abilities, attributes, and animations. These animations are what sell Cybersleuth's combat. Having Beelzemon roll up and start dumping his double barrel shotguns and hit the enemies 8 times never gets old. Vmon does his signature V headbutt, and all all of that. All these satisfying animations gave me a great pleasure and pushed me to see as many Digimon as possible. And yo, that rabbit has guns! Combat is sadly never too difficult. Surely if you brought all the wrong types of Digimon to a boss fight, you could run into some problems. But my Sakuyamon and I hardly ran into any we couldn't just debuff and beat the crap out of. But also, Sakuyamon's main ability may be overpowered. There are a few challenging fights near the end of the game that could be really tough if you didn't take advantage of the game's massively complex Digivolution and De-Digivolution system. The Digivolving system is so complex, but it's also so important that at some point you will want to pull a wiki out for help if you want some of the better Digimon towards the end of the game. ABI stats, camp stamps, leaders, personality traits, loading Digimon, there's so much here. Also be ready to grind a lot. The auto battle and the way EXP works in this game makes it easy, but it is still a time sink. In the future, I wouldn't want them to remove the depth, but I would like it to be a little more user-friendly. Some of these menus are clunky, and some things that are super important like the ABI stat are either just a throwaway line or completely not mentioned. It can be a super bummer leveling a Digimon all the way to their Mega Evolution requirement and realize it's impossible for you to Digivolve because you didn't de-Digivolve enough times. But other than that, it can be as deep as the Persona's fusion system. Just kinda wish the combat asked more of you. The main world of this game is easy enough to explore once you get the hang of how missions are structured. There are tons of side missions with their own personal little stories as you travel to Tokyo and the cyber world of Eden, which are both beautifully realized. Most of the side missions have their own little stories going on in the game and get some pretty good rewards. Just skip the Digimon has lost property missions. They're literally useless unless you are going for a platinum. The world you explore is a Persona style fashion, i.e. small areas in a big town, all sectioned off. Akihabara, Shinjuku for Tokyo, assets are reused constantly, especially in the first 10 chapters of the game. After that, it does generate a lot more new assets, but it does get really old exploring Nakano and Kowloon for 10 hours. But nonetheless, its world exploration is serviceable, but it's not why you are here. And that's about it. The game itself is great and a satisfying revival, personally, for the Digimon franchise. I spent 50 hours with Digimon Cybersleuth when I finally saw the credits roll. You could reduce that time quite significantly if you don't fall down into the Digivolving dark hole I fell into. I really wanted Beelzemon and Omnimon, but after it was all over, I felt a large hole in my chest. I wanted more. I still want more. More stories and adventure in this crazy rabbit missile shooting dinosaur sword wielding weird ass world. And that's the review. Thank you for watching. This is Adrian from my channel Random Drop, and I will see you next time.